Good morning, everyone. I'm April, and you're watching The Tangled Cat. This is episode number 5. Thank you for joining me, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm going to start today talking about something that I didn't finish that I should have. Last time, I was just about to start the second sock for my son. He was gonna go hang out with some friends this weekend up in a cabin, and I know it was gonna be cold, and he came and asked me, "Mom, do you have my socks done?" And I was like, "No, sorry." So I get the bad mom award for that because I didn't finish these socks. But I think, this sounds silly, but I think I was having a knitting overdose. Sometimes you get into that little groove where you're just knitting and that's all you want to do, and you go and you get so many things done and you're just excited, and then sometimes you just kind of like, no, I can't do this today, I don't want to. That's kind of how I was. It was kind of like, when kids eat too much candy, when they get hyper and then suddenly they're just kind of like really still. That's kind of how I was. I had knit so much, I just wanted to not. So I didn't get his sock done. So I'm gonna work on this. I promise he's gonna have it done soon. Not in time for going up into the cabin, but he'll have them. And again, just so I can remind you, this is 3 Irish girls, Adorn yarn, with the 2 colors of Aiden and Forest Primeval, and the brown is called Fresh Earth. And one other thing I wanted to mention about these, I had talked about before about the Ravelry group called the Brown Bagging It Sock Club. So this was my pick for January, and I've only got a couple more days before I finish these, before I would like to finish these so that I can start my February socks. And just to remind you, the Brown Bagging It Sock Club was, just a group of us on Ravelry who got some yarn from our stash, put them in individual brown lunch bags, sealed them up, put numbers on them, and every month we draw a different bag. We know what yarns we put, we just don't know which one in specifically each bag. It's just sort of a little bit of a mini surprise when we open it. So this was my January pick, and it ended up being a bag of 3 different leftover colors. So I know it's not February yet. It's only today that I'm recording this is January 28th, I think. It's Sunday, anyway. So I couldn't wait, and I drew my bag for February because I was super excited and I wanted to look for patterns and decide what I was going to do with this yarn. So I ended up getting bag number 13. I did 15 bags, labeled 15 bags, because we started this little group back in November, and I had chosen 15 bags just in case I happened to knit faster than I thought. Apparently that's not going very well. Wishful thinking. But so I've got 15 bags to choose from, and I've already used numbers, excuse me, I've already used numbers 4, 5, and 6. I think this was number 5. And I don't know if you remember, but from my first episode, I was showing some pink and black striped socks for my other son. I think those were bag number 4. And the other bag was from socks that I had started back in November, and all I've gotten is 1 cuff done. So those are still sitting, waiting to get done, but I'll get to them sooner or later. Excuse me, I have a little bit of an itch in my throat. Excuse me. So, anyway, so that's why I know I said I was doing them at once a month, but this is number 13, which is more than 12 months in a year. So I did 15 bags. And I'm excited to open this. Excuse me. I had put more leftovers together, looks like. So I think that there should be enough to make some socks just above the ankle, not too tall or anything. I don't really like long socks for myself anyway, but I think what I want to do, there's a pattern called Evil Queen, and it's biscotti socks, I think they're called. I can't remember. I'll have to find the name and insert it here. But it's called Evil Queen is the pattern. And they're interesting because they're knit flat, and you get one color and you knit the back of the sock. You come up around the toe, and then the front of the sock is done in this color, and usually the front is something interesting. Like this particular pattern has some intricate cabling going on up the front. So it's going to be really cool. These two colors complement each other pretty well. But they're very different. This is, oh my goodness, but these are both fiddle knits yarns. I don't remember the bases. But this was American Confetti. And this one was Play with Colors Day. So I'm very excited. I'm going to make these socks that have a different way of construction. Look at the colors. Look, this even has, it looks mostly blues and reds, but look, there's a little bit of teal in there. There's some black. This one's got a tiny bit of gray mixed in with the blue and red speckles. I am very excited. So excited. So again, the Evil Queen socks is what I'm going to make with this in February once I finish these. So Brown Baggy Knit Sock Club, we're a little group on Ravelry, and it's still a very small group. So come join us. I don't know where to put everything. So there's that. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, let's just start with, since I've already shown you my cup, I'm going to show you this. It's a mug that I got from a friend at work. Hello, Jolene. She gave me this a couple Christmases ago, and I just love drinking tea out of it because it's, you know, it's like a little affirmation every morning. Hello, gorgeous. You know, so I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And I'm drinking a very yummy tea that I got at Teavana. I'm very, very, very sad that Teavana is closing. I'm not positive if it's just closing in our area or if all of the Teavanas are closing. I think it's all of them, and that's very upsetting to me because I like their tea. The one that I'm drinking right now is called Strawberry Grapefruit Joulong Green Tea. Oh my gosh, the smell of this stuff, it really does smell like grapefruit. Oh, that's one of my favorite smells. I love grapefruit, and I even have a grapefruit scented chapstick because I love how clean that smells, and it's just so refreshing. So this tea is super yummy, and I don't put very much sweetener or sugar in it at all because it really doesn't need it. But that's what I'm drinking, and it's so good. And I think I'm drinking it hot right now, but I think that it would also make a really nice iced tea when it's warmer out. And I'm excited to try that. So I did see that they sell this Teavana tea, this one in particular, the strawberry grapefruit, on Amazon, but it's like 2 ounces for almost $30. I'm like, oh, I love it, but I don't know if I love it that much. I don't know. We'll see. When I run out, I have it in a bowl, just a little, to keep it fresh. Because I bought a big bag. Well, my son bought me a big bag for my birthday. But I'm very sad that I'm not going to be able to get it as easily anymore. It's going to be marked up, I'm sure, every time we go to somewhere like Amazon or wherever. It's going to be marked up. So that's kind of a bummer, but it's so good. It smells so good, and That's only going to leave me one other place to get loose leaf tea around here, and that's a little tea shop called, my goodness, it just popped right out of my head. St. James Tea Room. It's called the St. James Tea Room. It's so nice there. I love going there. It's, they sell the loose leaf teas, different blends that they make there, but it's also, you can have tea, like, you know, with they serve you tea, they serve you the 3-tiered tray with the savories and the breads and the sweets, and oh, it's so good. It's so good. We go every year for my daughter's birthday. We've gone. She's taken me on my birthday. It's become one of those, you know, if we're going to do something special, we're going to St. James Tea Room. So I guess that's the only place I'm going to go to get some of this loose leaf tea. And hopefully I can find one that smells like grapefruit, because gosh, that's so nice. I love it so much. And another thing I was going to mention, kind of silly, snacks. I love snacks, and one of my biggest weaknesses are salty things. And you know, sorry, I'm playing with this bag here. It's I was trying to get the price tag off. I probably should have done that sooner, but that's okay. I got it at this little market. It's beef jerky. And this one is from the old Santa Fe Trail. This is my favorite beef jerky, because I'm going to open it and show you why. One, because it's got green chili, which is something that I'm learning is pretty local to us here in New Mexico. I mean, other people come from out of state, or if we go to another state and ask for something, okay, green chili, we put green chili on everything. So, you know, if we go to another state, especially somewhere back east, and we're like, can we have some green chili on our pizza? You know, and they kind of look at us funny, and then they hand us bell pepper. That's not the same thing. And it's not jalapeno either. It's in kind of the same family, I guess. You know, that is chilies, but it seems to be pretty local here. For some reason, I can't get this bag open. Oh, there we go. But, you know, besides the fact that it's got green chili dusted all over this, I love it because it is this paper thin jerky, and it's crunchy. It's not like some of the other commercial brands, you know, the big name brands that are, the meat is a little bit thicker and it's chewy. And I think because they add sugar to it or whatever, it's kind of chewy. I like this because it's crunchy. It's almost like eating a chip. I love it so much. It's my every now and then I just have a craving for it. And there's a little shop right down the street from me, walking distance from where I live, and I can go snag a bag there. So that's what I've got planned for today, is my tea and my green chili beef jerky. It's very healthy. At least I'm getting protein. Oh, anyway. So, speaking of tea. Tea. I was watching, can you tell I like tea? I was watching Chemnitz. She's called Chemnitz Tutorial here on YouTube. She dyes yarns with things like Kool-Aid and food coloring. And recently she just did she did a video dyeing yarn with tea bags. And I know she's done other videos trying other things. What she talks a lot about in the Kool-Aids and the food colorings is the colored compounds that are in them. And she's also looked at other things like Gatorade and hard candies like Skittles. She dyed yarn using Christmas candy. She dyed yarn using Gatorade. I think she even tried dyeing a yarn with soda. I mean, she'll try just about anything to dye yarn with. And it's just, I love watching her experiments. So I thought I'm gonna try this. I have dyed yarn in the past using Kool-Aid. But this time I used tea and powdered sports drink mix. It was very exciting, and I was just super thrilled. I originally was going to do just one skein, one 100-gram skein of fingering weight yarn. And the yarn that I chose for it is from Pandia's Jewels. I kind of tore the tag a little bit, but Pandia's Jewels on her Snug Base. And this is 75% superwash merino wool and 25% nylon. So what I did was I grabbed a bunch of teas that I had, and I started with the Lipton Berry Hibiscus, and I put 2 of these in the pan of boiling water with some vinegar, and let that steep for a little bit. And then I got my skein and I plopped it down in there dry, and I let the water absorb into the yarn that way. I know in a lot of her videos she likes to soak the yarn first. I didn't have the patience. I was just too excited, so I just laid it in there dry and patted it down. And then once I've got the yarn arranged in the pot of almost to boiling water, I put in 2 bags of this Stash chai spice tea. Actually, no, I'm lying. 3 bags. I put 3 bags kind of close together of the black tea, and then 2 more bags of the hibiscus tea on the other side on top of the yarn. And I didn't move them. I didn't try to move the water to try to get it to spread or anything. I wanted the colors to stay kind of concentrated in their areas, so I used a lot of vinegar so that the colors would absorb and adhere to the yarn faster, so that it wouldn't spread and I would end up with this brown muddly mess. So after doing that, I ended up with this yarn, and I am in love. Now this was a bare yarn, so it was the natural undyed color. It was kind of a cream color, not white. But if you look here, this is where the yarn, it's kind of a rosy browny color, like a dusty rose, I would say. That's from the yarn being immersed in the full tea bath that I had steeped beforehand. And then this here is where the black tea touched the yarn. The 3 bags touched in the 3 different spots. So it's this real pretty camel color. It's just beautiful. And then there's a darker spot here of the dusty rose color, and that's where the 2 extra hibiscus ones sat on top of the yarn. And then when I sprinkled at the last minute, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I just want a little bit more pop of color. So I got some, don't tell my son, I used his fruit flavored creatine powder. My son likes to work out and he uses his creatine powder from time to time, and I used it. That stuff's expensive too. Whoops. But I sprinkled it all over, in different areas of the yarn, and just let it sit. I didn't try to dissolve it into the water or mix it. I just let it sit. And that's how I ended up with these spots of bright pink. It still kind of smells just a little bit like the powdered mix. But I did wash it with cool water and a little bit of dish soap. And make sure everything all ran clear so that later on when I work with it, it's not coming undone. And I only rinsed it once and there was no bleeding. The color just stayed on the yarn, but I rinsed it a couple more times just to be positive and try to get some of the sports drink mix out of it. So I did wash it a couple of times, but it still kind of smells like that. And I remember that happening, still having some of the Kool-Aid smell when I dyed before. I think my favorite one, I dyed yarn. I'll have to show you. I keep saying that, but I'm going to have to show you. It was Kool-Aid or very concentrated amounts of the orange Kool-Aid and concentrated amounts of the grape. And the grape ended up super dark purple, almost a black. That one smelled like Kool-Aid, like orange and grape Kool-Aid for the longest time, even though I had washed it a couple of times. So I don't know, I think it's kind of interesting. And it wasn't like gross or anything. It was just kind of interesting. Every time I'd unfold this shawl, it would smell like orange Kool-Aid. So yeah, it smells a little bit, and I don't smell the vinegar at all. The vinegar completely rinsed out, so that's good. But vinegar is necessary in some of these natural dyes to help the color bind. So it turned out really cool. I'm very excited. And I had a lot of that color left in the pot. And I had some water left. So I ended up I ran to my closet and grabbed yarn that I had set aside for something else. But I was so excited in the middle of this dyeing experiment that I grabbed 2 balls that I had of the Knit Picks Stroll Fingering in white. You know, like I said, this one was a bare yarn, so it was more cream. This one was white, but that's okay. It still turned out super pretty. I did 2 of them, 2 50-gram skeins. And this was different because the Knit Picks comes in the center pull balls. And so what I did was I grabbed another chai tea, another brand. This was the Bigelow Caramel Chai. And I only used this because I had already used the last 3 of the Stash Chai for the first skein. So I grabbed, there was 2 of them, and inside the center pull skein, I shoved a tea bag in the middle of each one. And then again, the skeins were still dry. I plopped them down into the pot and pushed them down so that they would absorb the water and the color. But I kind of ran out of water. It just soaked it up super quick. So I put in some more hot water and I mixed that up with some more of the drink mix. So I ended up with, it was very interesting. And I think because it was dry, that the color absorbed differently. It didn't all soak up in one big semi-solid color. There were some places that didn't get any dye at all, and you can still see it's almost white. And then there's some very, very light pink sections in there. And then of course I've got the bright where the drink mix really, really stuck. And if you look in here, you'll see where the tea bag was inside the skein. I don't know if you can see some of these orangey spots, and here on the lighter sections. That's where the tea bag was. And you know, after I washed it and everything, I used my Swift to create a skein so I could hang it to dry. But you can see this has some beautiful, there's some more of that camel color from the tea right here. I was able to get 2 skeins out of this. Oh, and they complement this one. So I was thinking of doing kind of like a fade. Now, because this one was in a center, these 2 were in center pull skeins, the inside was very white. The outside was where most of the pink ended up. And then just kind of random places where the tea bag touched. So it's kind of the outside of the one end of the ball is going to be dark pink, and the other end is going to be light pink and almost white. So I kind of wanted to do, you know, do a shawl and start with this one and then sort of blend these 2 in sort of like a fade, and ending at the bottom of my shawl with the white edge. So that's what I'm hoping for, and I'm thinking something plain, maybe just a garter stitch, and then where all of the white ends up, since it's less color there, I could do some sort of lace, and it's not going to get lost in all of this coloring. So that's my plan, and I'm super, super excited about it. I just love this camel color. I can't believe that this is what I got out of tea bags. It's crazy. But thanks to Rebecca over at ChemKnits Tutorials, because she gave me some awesome ideas. She's constantly inspiring me with what she does. And I just had so much fun. And now I'm going through all of the patterns that I have in my Ravelry library, and I'm using my Barbara G. Walker's, I have 2 of them, the first and second treasuries, going through those to see if I could find anything that I want to, that would look good with these wild colors. And now I'm in that mode, and I really got to focus. I got to focus because I've got other things that I got to work on. But it was just so fun. It was kind of a nice sideline. I hadn't dyed yarn in several years. And I had been really wanting to, especially after she had done a video using different colored sprinkles, like candy sprinkles to put on top of your cupcakes or whatever. I was thoroughly amazed that she even thought of doing that. And yeah, it works. Everything she talked about works. So very, very excited. And I want to find the perfect pattern for it. And I'm just hoping that it all works out, because I don't want to, use a pattern that I don't like for a yarn that I love. Very exciting. It's kind of cool. Maybe I can come up with something on my own. I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got all of these ideas running through my head now that I see the dried yarn in front of me. I'm super excited. So I'll put the video that I had posted on Twitter and Instagram. I will also put at the end of this video so you can see a little bit of what I did. It's not really a video. It's like the different still pictures that I took in a slideshow kind of thing. So there's that. What else? I think that's all I had. Oh, no, this, look, see? This right here is a cowl that I had made a while back. This was, I think I made this in like July or August of 2016. This is back in June of 2016. I went on my very first ever knitting retreat, and I went to Vermont, and it was so beautiful up there. It was just exciting. The class was for Civil War era and Victorian era knitting patterns. So we basically were learning how to translate and read these patterns, because they were written very differently in that time. And some of it, was more of like a recipe than an actual step-by-step pattern. So you kind of, the pattern writers kind of assumed you knew what they were talking about in some places. So she even did the instructor, she did a little test, she gave us this pattern, didn't tell us what it was about, didn't tell us what it was supposed to be. And we all kind of read it, started trying to knit it. And there was several of us there, and each of us came up with something different, and everything, again, on my lip. And it was really interesting to see how many different ways one little pattern could be interpreted, because it was so vague. So she showed us some of the different ways that you can get clues on what they say or translate. And so that was that whole experience there at the knitting retreat. It was so fun. And then in between stuff, we got to go shopping at some of the local yarn stores. And this is yarn that I had gotten while we were up there. It's a chunky alpaca. And it's kind of like a tweedy yarn. And it's a little bit of a rustic yarn in that it is soft, but when I put it up to my skin, I can feel it's a little bit prickly. It's not itchy to me. It's not uncomfortable. But I do know that some people might say, oh, that's too itchy for me. I would never wear that around my neck. But I don't have a problem with it. It doesn't seem to bother me. I can tell that it's a little rougher is not even the right word. I don't know how to explain it. It's definitely more rustic. It's not cashmere, but some people might say that it makes them itchy. It's called North of the Andes Alpaca Bulky, and this colorway is called Fleck. And the pattern that I used is Chunky Lace Cowl by Alba Cabrera. Now her pattern calls for a few decorative buttons. I'm going to take this off again because I want to show you what I used as buttons. They're not really, can you see those? They're not really buttons. They're, I had these really pretty decorative bobby pins, you know, so I would put my hair up in a twist or a bun or something, and then I would get these decorative bobby pins and shove them in, and it looks like I had these little antique coins all throughout my hair. And a couple of these popped off the bobby pins at some point, and I don't know why. I just saved them. I thought, I guess maybe I thought I was going to super glue them back on. I don't know, but I never did. So I kept all of them together in one place in a drawer. And when this pattern came around, I was looking for buttons and I couldn't really find anything that I liked. So I remembered that I had them, and I decided to go ahead and sew them on with really thin thread. There just happened to be some little tiny holes in the center that I could sew through. So it turned out really nice. You know, it was kind of a nice way to use up something that I thought was really pretty, and I just couldn't seem to get rid of when it broke. So I'm very excited about that. Very pretty. Yeah, so that is my week in my yarn adventures. I wish I had gotten more done on my sock. I'm gonna do that today. I'm gonna be like a little busy bee and get some work done on this sock, because I really want to get started on these in February. It's a very interesting pattern with the, you know, knitting it flat from the top cuff down to the heel, past the heel to the foot around the toe, and then go up the front with a completely different color. So very exciting how that works. I'm really excited to see how it turns out. And the fit, I'm curious to see how they're going to fit, because it's a different construction. You know, it took me a while to wrap my head around how somebody figured out how to do a heel in a toe, and now there's all these different styles of heels, and now this person just decided they're going to come up with a new idea of how to create a sock altogether. So it's going to be an adventure. I'm excited to start those. And I've got a couple of other things that I want to work on in February. I think I mentioned that the Ravelinics is going to be happening in Ravelry. I think it starts February 9th, and it's a 10-day knitting extravaganza kind of thing, and it's pushing yourself. So these are going to be part of that. I'm actually not going to start these at the very beginning of February. I'm going to wait so we can do the mass cast on that happens for the Olympics. And the Olympics are happening in Korea. I can't pronounce the name of the city, but it's South Korea, and the opening ceremonies are at, here it's going to be 3 a.m. I believe, 4 a.m. It's going to be 4 a.m. here where I live. So I have every intention of getting up at about 3:30, have some coffee, get my yarn together, and join in this mass cast on. Now that's my intention. This is what I want to do. Will I do it? I don't know. We'll see what happens when that alarm goes off at 3:30 in the morning. But I'm kind of excited. It'll be fun. You know, to me, it's just exciting that there are these people from all around the world on Ravelry, and they're on at different, you know, at the times that are convenient for them. So I could be knitting with somebody on the whole other side of the planet. I just find that very exciting. So I have every intention of getting up at 3:30 in the morning for the mass cast on. So I want to work on that for the Ravelinics, and there is a brioche cowl. That's my main challenge for me, because I've never done brioche, and it looks like a scary technique to me, and I don't know why. Everybody keeps telling me, no, it's not as hard as it looks. So brioche and the socks, and I think there's one other thing that I wanted to do, and I can't think of it right now. Oh, before I go, I got another package. I got, last time I showed you some little double point cases, and while I was there on Etsy, I found another shop that did project bags. And I got this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I'm very scatterbrained this morning. I almost forgot to show you how cute this is. So it's got a nice strap here and her little logo on the tag here, but look at how adorable. Just cats. I love it. And look at the little zipper pulls, a kitty. And there's knitting fabric on the bottom. This kitty is knitting. How adorable is that? Oh my goodness. I am so in love with this bag. Oh, I can't get enough of it. And let's see. What does the inside look like? I don't even know. Oh, it's a nice flat bottomed bag. And it's got a nice size in there. I mean, I could fit a pair of, you know, socks in progress in a bag like this. Or maybe even like a scarf or, you know, a smaller project, but super cute. Super cute. Now, she also sent me this, and I guess I should tell you who I got them from. She sent me her card. It was the Etsy web shop called Quilt Knit Craft. And there is her name there, Kathy Norman. She also sent as a special gift, a little extra, a sample of, I don't know what type of yarn, but it looks hand spun. I'm assuming that she spun this. I don't know what it is, but it is super soft. And it looks like she spun it to be about a worsted, maybe an Aran, but super soft. I don't know how much is here, but I'm going to find something to do with this. It is so squishy and definitely not rustic like this. This is, I mean, there is nobody saying that this makes them itchy. This is super soft. I love watching people spin yarn, and I don't know, sometimes I say I want to experiment with it and try and learn, but I don't know. I've got so much other things going on that I haven't said, oh, I want to sit down and try something else. But to watch people spin on YouTube is fascinating to me. And, you know, she sent me this beautiful little hand spun yarn. I love it. So thank you, Kathy Norman from Quilt Knit Craft on Etsy. Give her a look. Super cute. Meow, meow, meow. And I think I also mentioned my books. I was telling you a while back that I was reading A Crochet Mystery by Betty Hechtman. I finished the 10th book, and this is the 11th one. I love these titles. The cozy mystery titles are so cute. This one is Hooking for Trouble. And it sounds terrible. You know, we call crocheters that, you know, we're just a bunch of hookers, you know, because the crochet hook. And so this book kind of does a play on that, as well as a play on words as far as looking for trouble. It's hooking for trouble. I just think these cozy mystery titles are a hoot. They're so funny, and there's a lot of them that I have simply because of the names. There's I'm saying hoot. There's another one, Donna Andrews, another author. She does cozy mysteries as well, and hers are all bird related somehow. And you know, all the titles are silly titles with bird-like names. It's just super cute. But I want to start this one soon. But I got distracted the way that I always do. I went to the library. Go figure. My library has a free cart, and I found this. It doesn't have a cover. Was it upside down? That's upside down. It's called The Homing by Jeffrey Campbell. I have no idea what this book is about because there isn't anything, you know, any cover to tell me anything. And I could Google it. There's a lovely site called Fantastic Fiction that will tell me whether or not it's part of a series, will tell me, you know, a basic synopsis of the book. I can also go onto Paperback Swap and try to find something out there. I only went as far as to find out whether or not it was a part of a series because I don't want to get a book that's in the middle of a series. So that's as far as I found out about this book. It's a standalone. I know nothing else about it, and I've already started it, and I'm through the first couple of chapters, and I'm intrigued. So I'm excited to find out what goes on. It has something to do with a man going to visit his daughter who he hasn't seen in a while, and he seems to have some sort of sense of impending doom. So that's all I know so far. But so far, I've been sucked in, and I'm gonna keep reading. I love the free cart at my library, and some of the books are older than dirt. There's another book that I wanted to read that I got that was published in 1924 called, I think it was 1924, somewhere in the 1920s or 1930s, and it was called The Arncliffe Puzzle. I'm very excited about that. I have no idea what that is, but it sounds intriguing, sounds exciting. So sometimes I like to find things that are just a nice little surprise, you know. And if I'm not pulled in by a book within the first 75 pages, I'm probably going to stop reading it. There's so many other things out there. It's kind of like knitting. If I'm not loving the pattern, I'm not going to stick with it. So I would rather do the ones that I know that that I'm enjoying at the moment. So far I'm enjoying that book, The Homing. Oh, and I just remembered. Woo! I was supposed to be getting in February the indie club that I got, my indie club yarn, the Where We Knit club. So I'll be getting an unknown to me sock yarn, or well, I think it's a sock yarn. I'm pretty sure it's fingering, but I don't know if it's sock yarn. But a skein of yarn and a pattern. Oh my gosh, February is going to be so fun. Ravelanics, Brown Bagging and Sock Club, and the Indie Dyers Club. So excited. The Where We Knit Club. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have so much fun this month, and I need to focus because I'm not going to get anything done if I keep getting distracted by dyeing yarn. Although that's fun too. Enjoy your week, and I will see you next time, and hopefully I will have something done. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.